Mute, mute, mute.
Good morning, madam. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, good morning, madam.
Good morning, sir.
Madam, welcome to the session.
But what should the fund crew do?
But the session will begins at 11 a.m., madam.
Yes.
Yeah. You'll be there in the meeting, madam, till then?
Yes, I'll be there. I'm here and we'll start at 11. I have sent my slide deck. In case
Okay.
it becomes slow from here, then we can go to the alternative
right.
slide deck. Okay,
All
sir?
right.
All right. Thank you.
All right, madam. You have sent that slides to Firoz, sir, madam?
Um, yes, yes. On the email that was sent to me, I've replied on that right now.
Okay, fine.
Yes, sir.
I will take it, madam. Thank you.
Excuse me, sir, Prabhavati Rao here.
Yes, ma'am.
Please give me access from my, I'm trying to log into the laptop for the PPT purpose, but I don't have access there.
Sure, I'll give access right
Access
now.
has been given on my mobile only. Please give me access there also. It is a standby, both of them.
Sure, madam. Sure.
Yeah.
Right now, I'll give an access.
Yeah. Thank you.
Please.
Okay.
Thank
Morning, Farah.
you. Morning.
Good morning, Prabha.
Morning. Just trying, like having a standby on the mobile also and on the laptop so that we don't have any issues.
Sure.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Very nice of you, madam.
Yeah, thank you.
Happy to see you both.
Firoz, sir.
Sir.
Sir, Dikshita, Meena Gunti, and Anisa Bijapur, they are waiting there. Should we allow them?
You allow them, sir. You allow them.
Okay.
Prabhati, madam, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning.
Very nice. Very nice to see you, madam.
Sir.
And we are looking
Thank you, sir. We are also very eager, looking forward now.
We are looking forward for a great presentation, madam, from you both.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much.
All the best, madam, both of you.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Yatnati, sir. Chillur, sir.
Sir, ಹೇಳಿ sir.
Hey, guests, sir. Sir, introduce yourselves to the guests, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good morning, madam. Madam, good morning. Prabha madam. Hello madam. Excuse me madam.
Yes, sir.
Madam, are you able to share the PPT now?
Yeah, I can share it while doing my program. I will share the screen.
All right, madam.
Yes.
I have allowed all to share this one. Madam.
Okay,
PPT.
I will test it whether I'm able to.
Please.
I'm just sharing it. Yeah.
Please,
Can
madam.
you see it?
Yeah. It's coming, madam. Yeah.
Just a minute.
Very clear.
Sir, you introduce yourself to ma'am.
Good morning, madam. Myself, Dr. Mahantesh Yatnatti. I'm a NAC coordinator, madam. Firoz sir,
Sir, ಹೇಳಿ.
you are able to see this screen, alla?
Yeah, it's visible.
Yes, sir.
It's appearing on the screen. No
Yes.
problem.
And
Okay,
anybody?
you were able to see my PPT slide, no? Which I just
Yes, ma'am.
tested.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Just now you shared it, no, madam.
Yeah.
It was visible.
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Firoz sir,
Sir, बोलिए.
I have allowed PPT sharing to all participants. One at a time.
Not participants, only for guests you should allow them to share.
No. But here that option is there. I have to allow only one or that's there. But other people will not be sharing. No worry.
Okay, boss. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
And keep other participants mute.
Yes, sir. Yes. That I'll do. Sir, Firoz sir.
Sir.
YouTube live link Nehru College group ನಲ್ಲಿ share ಮಾಡಿಬಿಡಿ sir.
ಮಾಡಲಾ?
sir ಮಾಡಿ sir please. ಅಂದ್ರೆ
Okay, I will do it.
ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರಲಿ sir. Ajeshwarendra.
Sir, can you give me re-access?
Yeah, sure.
From my mobile also, I'm trying to log in. Please give me re-access. I'm in the waiting room.
Oh, sure, madam. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I have given, madam.
Yeah, thank you.
Welcome.
Yatnatti sir, keep it on record mode. Sir, the meet should go on record mode, sir.
Yes, sir. I'll do it. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಈಗ ಏನೇ ಬೇರೆ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಿರ್ತಲ್ಲ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಈಗ ರೆಕಾರ್ಡ್ ಆಗೋದು ಬೇಡ.
ಅಲ್ಲ ಈಗ ಬೇಡ. As soon as it commences, na.
Sure. Sharply at 11 PM, I will put it for recording, sir.
Yeah.
ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ತುಂಬೊತ್ನಾಗ ಎಷ್ಟಾರ
in a few minutes.
This is got to do with education. Education is the most profitable.
Participant का ಹೆಸರು ಏನು ಬರ್ತೈತಿ? ರವೀಂದ್ರ ಅಂತ ಬಂದೈತಿ ಕೈಯಾರ ಬಿಡು.
Hello, Mirji sir. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you, sir?
Assalam, sir. Okay, yes.
Walaikum salam, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Wrong, sir.
Assalam.
Morning,
Salam,
sir.
sir. Salam.
Assalamualaikum, sir.
Assalam, sir.
Assalamualaikum, sir. Mike, sir.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम।
वालेकुम अस्सलाम।
कॉलेज को क्या फरोज सर?
हाँ हाँ
सही है।
Sir, college road ಕೂತಿರಿ.
ಹೌದು ಸರ್, ಈಗ ಬಂದೆ.
Great, beautiful.
Hello.
Good morning, Asha madam.
Good morning, one and all.
Morning, madam. Welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, madam.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
sir. Good morning.
Sir, with the permission of guest, why don't you start now? It's time up.
Sir, ಇನ್ನು 2 ನಿಮಿಷ. 100 ಅವರು ದಾಟ್ಲಿ.
Okay. What is the 87 now?
87 ಇದ್ರೊಳಗೆ ಐತಿ ಜೂಮ್ ಒಳಗೆ. ಆಮೇಲೆ 13 ವೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸೇರಿ 100 ಟೋಟಲ್ 100 ರೀಚ್ ಆಗೈತಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. ಸರ್ ಅವ್ರು ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬ್ ನ ಬರ್ತಾರೆ, ನಾವು ಶುರು ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. 87 90 ಮಟ್ಟ ನಾನು ಪರ್ಮಿಷನ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ.
ಓಕೆ.
ಹಾ ಸರ್.
ಮಾಡಿ.
ಎಸ್ ಸರ್. ಈಗ ಲೈವ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ 13 ಜನ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ನಮ್ಮ ಜೂಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ 90 ಜನ, ಉಳಿದವರು 13 ಜನ ವೇಟಿಂಗ್ ರೂಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋಣಲ್ಲ?
Sir, with your permission.
Yes, sir. Please start.
Okay. Prabhavati madam.
Sir,
With your kind permission.
sir, can you hear me properly?
Yes, madam. Yes.
Prabhavati madam.
Clearly?
Yes, madam. Very much clear.
Yeah, good morning all. Prabhavati Rao here.
Okay.
Morning.
Okay, sir.
Good morning, madam.
Farah madam. Dr. Farah madam.
Good morning, everybody. I'm here.
Madam, with your kind permission, shall we start the program?
Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Etrate, sir.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, sir.
Disha, madam. Disha, madam. Unmute yourself. Very good. Disha, madam.
Yes, sir.
Please start, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Shall I start? Okay, sir. A very good morning to all of you. Respected Administrator, Major Dr. M.F. Ansari, Principal Professor Syed Firoz Ahmed, Resource Persons Dr. Farah Diba, Senior Consultant IPR, CMR University, Bengaluru, and Shrimati Prabhavati Rao, Facilitator CTPC, Department of Industries and Commerce, IQAC Coordinator, Dr. SM, NAC Coordinator, Dr. MS Eteti, colleagues, invitees, and guests. I, Dr. Disha Madan, from the Department of English, welcome each one of you on behalf of the management, staff, and students of Nehru Arts, Science, Commerce College and PG Center. I extend a warm welcome to you at this national webinar
on intellectual property rights being held in collaboration with Vishweshwaraya Trade Promotion Center, a Government of Karnataka organization. This webinar is held under the aegis of IQAC initiative and is organized by the Department of Botany, Zoology, Library and Information Center. Intellectual property refers to creations of the mind, such as inventions, literary and artistic works, designs, symbols, names, and images used in commerce. Intellectual property is protected by law, for example, patents, copyright, and trademarks, which enable people to earn recognition or financial benefit from what they invent or create. By striking the right balance between the interests of innovators and the wider public interest, the intellectual property system aims to foster an environment in which creativity and innovation can flourish. This webinar on IPR is being organized in order to spread awareness of these rights among the intellectuals in particular and in society as a whole. It is the need of the hour to be aware of these rights and to stand and secure them for our own good, both in financial and creative fields. Let us commence the proceedings of this webinar by welcoming the online gathering. I invite Dr. S.M. Chellur, the IQAC coordinator, to deliver the welcome address. Over to you, sir.
Good morning, one and all. On behalf of Alhaj Janab MC Sawan, the chairman of our education institution, members of education board, Major Dr. M.F. Ansari, administrator, principal Professor Syed Firoz Ahmad, NAC coordinator Dr. M.S. Ethnati, HOD of Geology, Dr. Imam Hussain Mirzi, Head Department of Library and Information Center, staff and students of our college, and on my own behalf as IQAC coordinator, I welcome the respected resource persons for today's webinar. Dr. Deba, Senior Consultant, IPR, CMR University, Bangalore, as a resource person to address on the topic
I am also
intellectual property rights, right spectrum, and its significance in business, research, and academia.
I'm also
I welcome Srimati Padmavati Rao, Facilitator, PTPC, Department of Industries and Commerce, Government of Karnataka, as a resource person to speak on the topic geographical indications as an important IP tool impacting artisans, to this national level webinar on IPR in association with the Vishweshwaraya Trade Promotion Center, Government of Karnataka. Welcome, Madam. Padmavati, ma'am. Welcome, please. On behalf of IQAC, I welcome our revered administrator, Major Dr. M.F. Ansari, Principal Professor Syed Firoz Ahmad, NAC Coordinator Dr. M.S. Ethnati, Professor R.K. Dafedar, HOD of Geology, Dr. Imam Hussain Mirzi, Head Department of Library and Information Center, and all the staff members and students of our college to this webinar. I welcome all of you. I welcome all the delegates and participants of this national level webinar on intellectual property rights. I welcome you all to this webinar. So I welcome our teaching and not teaching staff of our esteemed institution to this webinar. At first, once again, I welcome all of you wholeheartedly to this webinar to make this a grand success. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ours is a prestigious institution with many milestones crossed over the years, with many achievements added all through. I invite our principal, the hub of our institution, Professor Syed Firoz Ahmed, to speak a few words about the institution. Over to you, Principal, sir.
Thank you, Madam. Good morning, everybody. Honorable President of Anjuman Islam Hubli, Ali Janab Muhammad Yusuf Sonu Sahab, Chief Guest and the speakers of today's webinar, Srimati Prabhavati Rao, Facilitator, Vishweshwaraya Trade Promotion Center, Department of Industries and Commerce, a Government of Karnataka Organization, Bengaluru. Dr. Farhad Hiba, Senior Consultant, IPR, CMR University, Bengaluru, Revered Administrator, am I audible?
Yes, go ahead.
Revered Administrator Major Dr. M.F. Ansari Sahab, Organizing Secretary Riaz Ahmed Dafedar, Head of the Department of Zoology. Another Organizing Secretary, Lieutenant Dr. Imam Hussain Mirchi, Librarian. NAC Coordinator, Dr. M.S. Etnati, Chairman of IQSC, Dr. Chillur, colleagues, participants, viewers, and my dear friends. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce before you the things which are being done in the esteemed institution called as Nehru Arts, Commerce, Science College, which is run by Anjuman-e-Islam Hubli. Ladies and gentlemen, Anjuman-e-Islam Hubli is a premier prestigious organization of Muslim community of Hubli city, established in the year 1903 with a vision of service unto humanity by then Nawab of Saunur, Sardar Mehboob Ali Khan. Anjuman-e-Islam Hubli is running 22 educational institutions starting from primary to PG with health center, shopping complexes, which justify the vision of founding fathers of the management. As a testimony to the fact, on the occasion of centenary year celebration of Anjuman-e-Islam Hubli, the then President of India, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, visited our esteemed institution in 2003. At present, we have a very vibrant and enthusiastic and dynamic management led by Janab Muhammad Yusuf Saunur, who happens to be the alumnus of this prestigious institution, and he and his team encourage student-centric programs in our institution. Nehru College was established in the year 1965 and has celebrated Golden Jubilee year in the year 2015 and 16. Nehru College has imparted quality education for overall development of the community. We got through 3 cycles of NAC, 2 cycles of NAC under our esteemed administrator, Dr. M.F. Ansari Sahab, and we got A grade successively in all the 3 cycles. Ladies and gentlemen, I feel proud to say that from the last 10 years, the college has organized around 22 international, national, state level, and university level programs which are meant for the students and our academic fraternity by the funding bodies across India. Within a span of 1 year, we are being able to organize 10 national and 2 university level programs. In a couple of weeks to come, in future, we have scheduled around 4 international and 10 national webinars, which is a testimony to the fact of the dedication, hard work, and devotion shown by the management as well as my esteemed colleagues. Today, it is my pleasure that we all are inaugurating this webinar, which is co-sponsored by VPC Bengaluru, and have an opportunity to listen to the vibrant and enthusiastic speakers of national and international reputation. With this note, I, on behalf of the management, staff, and the students, would like to welcome the dignitaries who have come to address us. I wish all the very best to the organizers. Thank you. Thank you, one and all. Jai Hind, Jai Karnataka. Over to Chillur, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Yes, thank you very much, sir. Today we have renowned guests. Today we have renowned guests as the resource persons for the webinar of intellectual property rights. I invite Dr. Asha Rab, Associate Professor and a renowned writer from the Department of English, to acquaint us with the illustrious resource persons. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you,
Sir,
Dr.
somebody
Desha.
take over that anchoring. I think he has some network problem.
Yeah.
Yesterday, sir.
Good morning. Hello, sir. Can I start? Shall I start, sir?
Yes, ma'am. I just now announced your name, ma'am.
Okay. No, so the principal sir was telling something, so I waited. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I thought you can't hear me. I felt that.
Good morning. Respected principal sir, administrator sir, NAC coordinator, IQHC coordinator, the conveners of today's webinar, dear colleagues, dear students, and all the participants. I am Dr. Asha Rab, Department of English. I'm here to introduce Dr. Farah Diba and Srimati Prabhavati Rao. Dr. Farah Diba, she has been working as an associate professor at CMR University, Bangalore. Before starting her career in teaching, she has also worked with Monsanto Company as a senior scientist from 1996 to 2009. In 1996, she completed the highest degree, PhD, and specialized herself in IPR, that is intellectual property rights. Besides that, in agriculture, biotech, research and development, research guidance, and scientific outreach. Her areas of work include IP protection, competitive intelligence, technology prospecting, and so on. She has many research publications to her credit. She is an inventor with patents in genomics. As a creative writer, she has 2 novels to her credit. Apart from these 2 novels titled Corporate Curry and Rain Shadow, she has written 3 other notable books. She is a fine artist in true sense. She is an accomplished vocalist specialized in ghazal singing and has a music album to her credit. Such a multifaceted personality named Dr. Farah Diba is amidst us. On behalf of all, I welcome you, madam, once again. Today, we have amidst us another shining star with multifaceted personality in Srimati Prabhavati Rao. She took her MA in economics from Central University of Hyderabad. She holds certifications in IPR's foundation course, patent corporation treaty, and many more from the World IP Organization, that is WIPO, from Geneva, Switzerland. Besides working in many capacities, for the past 8.5 years, she has been facilitating the IPR initiatives at the government of Karnataka under the aegis of Department of Industries and Commerce. She's also closely involved in sensitization drives, training programs, and nurturing the IP fabric of various policy initiatives. The recent one being the GI policy, that is Geographical Indications Policy of Karnataka, which was unfurled in May 2019. It is because of the sincere efforts of personalities like Srimati Prabhavati Rao that Karnataka has emerged as the first state in the country to have GI policy to protect the traditional legacies of the state. Besides these professional accomplishments, she has authored several features, editorials, websites, and also organized interview sessions for journals and dailies. All her endeavors culminated in the reward of Outstanding Employee Award at India's leading IT staffing company named Magna Infotech. We congratulate you, madam, for this. She was also an auditioned compeer for the youth channel of All India Radio Hyderabad from 1991 to 1998. She has anchored many live programs. Besides these, she has produced documentaries and features. Such a luminary as Srimati Prabhavati Rao, a multifaceted personality, is amidst us. On behalf of all, I welcome you, madam. And once again, on behalf of all, I welcome both the madams. Thank you. Thank you, one and all. Over to Dr. Disha Madan.
Thank you very much, ma'am. It was really a wonderful introduction of the versatile resource persons who are amongst us today. We are privileged to hear from highly qualified, well-learned, well-versed, and highly placed resource persons today. We are eagerly looking forward to hear from them. I invite Dr. Prabha Diba to address us on the topic Overview of Intellectual Property Rights Spectrum and its Significance in Business Research Academia. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. And can we allow me to share the screen?
Madam, it's allowed. Please check, madam.
Okay.
Are you not able to share it, madam?
I'm just trying once again.
Okay, please.
Just give me a minute. I'm just getting it. Is it visible now, my screen?
Yes, madam, it's visible.
Okay. So good morning, everybody. And it's my pleasure to be here among you. And thank you for all the kind words. So I hope this will be a session which will be useful to all. And this is an overview. So we'll just try to take you through a lot of IPR tools and the concepts that are required. And then hopefully we can follow it up with some more depending on your preference. So what we are witnessing right now is knowledge economy. So these are intensive technical and scientific innovation-based industries that we have been seeing in this business landscape. And the national IPR policy was out in the year 2016. And then we have national education policy, which came, and then the geographical indications policy. So you can see the logo of the GI policy. So anything with that logo will be a geographical indication of India. And Prabha will be speaking more on that. So I'll take you through all these. So the tagline that comes along with the IP policy is Creative India, Innovative India, because we have science and the arts and different kinds of creative work, which has to be protected through intellectual property. These are the top 10 technology fields. You can see medical technology, digital communication, computer technology, and so on. So we have to find the upcoming areas and invest in them. So for that, we need a strategy. So how to design a strategy, how to create something, and then how to protect it and take it to the market as a business prospect. This is what is the idea that we are trying to propagate today. So there are three aspects. Kindly mute yourselves. Okay. All right. So the business of science requires three aspects. One is technology. So we are in the lab, we develop a technology, but then how do you protect it? You need a legal system. We can create contracts, we can do a technology transfer, and then take it to the market in the form of a business, where again, we need strategies and contracts and technology transfer business. So all these things have to come together before a product comes to a market. So now, how do you protect? So legally, we have two kinds of properties, intellectual properties, industrial and copyrights. So within this gamut, you can see there are different kinds of tools. For example, patent. Very often people say patents, but there are trademarks, there are utility models, there are geographical indications, plant variety protection, trade secrets, industrial designs, and integrated circuit layout. Apart from that, we have copyrights and the related rights. And this is the whole spectrum. And depending on what we are creating, we'll be able to choose which one is a suitable tool. So now there are different laws which have been created in tandem with the TRIPS, the trade-related intellectual property rights. And these are Indian laws, which are the GI Act 1999, the Trademark Act, the Plant Variety Protection and Farmers' Right Act, Biodiversity Act. And then the government works along with the NGOs and the different community-based organizations to create this whole framework under which we will utilize the tools, we'll protect, and we'll take it to the market and create a commercial organization. So now when we talk about any product, for example, a simple thing like a beverage, Coca-Cola. So you have a trademark, you know that the red and white combination. Then you have a trade dress. That means how the product is packaged. That becomes an industrial design. And the formulation of Coca-Cola is a trade secret. So all these are different tools which we are using to safeguard an invention or a brand that you have taken to the market. So if we are aware of that, we'll be able to utilize it in a useful manner. Now, whenever you try to talk about creation, there has to be an idea, there has to be a theory. And then from the theory, you will come out with a prototype. That prototype needs creativity, it needs design skills and engineering capabilities. And then when you create something based on your customer experience, based on your different demands from the market, you will keep on innovating and creating something better. So it gives a broad benefit to the society. So that's the idea with which we take a project and we take it from the lab to the market. So now the consumers will have a problem and you'll have to find a solution for it. And then there are market dynamics. So you have one generation of phones, smartphones, and then you'll have another generation and another generation. It goes on innovating in a linear manner because the market dynamics will define how we have to go ahead. And then it depends on so many technologies. So you have a phone, you have a glass cover, you have different integrated circuits, you have several things, a semiconductor. So technologies will be available and they will be brought together to create a product. So whatever you get is a product of so many people's innovation, and it's a continuous process. So now, when you develop a technology, at every stage, we have to capture the IP because there are techno-legal aspects and there are business aspects. So when you get an idea and you write it down, you will just go ahead, talk to your attorney, and then you'll create a provisional patent. Then while you're innovating and taking it further, getting all the clearances, getting the paperwork done, you will be filing your patent application. It will take at least 5 years to get a patent granted. Meanwhile, you'll be continuing to work on your product. And then you will have a product around which you have a gamut of patents on different aspects of the same. So you'll have a patent portfolio. Now you are in a proper business. Then you go and work with the commercial aspects. So this is how at every phase we have to be diligent. And that diligence is very, very important so that you do not lose the race, because this is a race, which is technical and business race. Now, any technology, so you see how many phones you would have thrown, in the past 20 years, when the first time the technology came, then suddenly there is another one, the generation 1 to 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and now we are in the smartphones. So when a technology comes, there is a phase, it goes up. Meanwhile, other people are not sitting idle, they are working on it. So they will get something which is more competitive. And then one technology will decline and simultaneously the other would have taken over. So this is a continuous process. So every technology has a life cycle. So a patent is for 20 years because 20 years is too much time. 5-6 generations of a product would have gone in that time. So this is just giving you the concepts, how things work in a dynamic commercial environment and a technology intensive environment. So now IPRs, as you know, are products of the mind. So what we have done is we have created something through our intellect, and we are very intelligent. So we have put so much of effort and time, and it takes a long time to create a product. So you have to safeguard your technology and the brands, because the brands are the ones that you interact with your customer. Now you have created something, but there are legal issues. You don't have freedom to operate and freedom to innovate. So let's understand these two terms. What is freedom to operate and how you can safely innovate? So I hope by the end of the session, I would have given some key messages that you can take home. Right. So this law has been created to encourage economic development and to reward intellectual creativity, because the ones among us who are at a higher plane of understanding have given something to the society. So this has to be protected for the benefit of the researcher, for the benefit of the society, and for the cultures of origin. We'll discuss more on cultures of origin because there are traditional knowledge elements that we have to respect and give the communities their dues. So we'll discuss more on that. Now, patents are exclusive rights. These are granted by a country. So all the patent rights, all the IP rights are territorial in nature because laws are territorial. So what is a law in India is more or less similar to what is in different countries, but it has its own features. So now the country will grant. So the rights are territorial. Now the patents will be granted based on certain criteria, which are very, very stringent. One is novelty. Is it new? Is it innovative? That means is an inventive step taken that takes it forward as a newer technology. Is there a utility? Is it useful for the society? Does it have industrial application? These three, novelty, innovativeness, and utility, are the three criteria that have to be satisfied. And they are very strong instruments. And the term, as I mentioned, was 20 years. So similarly, we'll discuss other aspects also. So you cannot just patent everything. You can have a machine, a composition of matter, or something which you can manufacture, a method. All these things will have to go through those three criteria. Design. So all these things can be patentable. But what is not patentable is the laws of nature, abstract ideas, mathematical algorithms. So all these things are unpatentable subject matter. So one is those three criteria and what is patentable as per the law in a country or not. So we have to understand that. So in India, it clearly defines inventions in atomic energy, alloys and admixtures, agricultural methods, ideas. Ideas cannot be patented. You have to tangibly express an idea to be patented. So now something which is morally objectionable, even if it is high science, something like human cloning or Terminator technology is not allowed in India. So you cannot get a patent on a mere idea or a suggestion. You have to create a prototype. You have to describe everything and define everything clearly in a patent document. So after you have done that due diligence, then only you can go the next step. Whether it is patentable or not, one is, then whether it satisfies all the criteria. Now, what are these criteria? Is it patentable subject matter? Because you cannot have patent on everything. It is useful for the society. Is it novel? Is it non-obvious? That means nobody knew it before you. And then you write down everything completely. That is called complete disclosure, so that other people can see that document and take a step further and the society progresses. So what it says that the disclosure should be so sufficient that anybody which has ordinary skill in the art, that means if you are a chemist, you know what is going on in your area of chemistry, and then other people have been working on it, but you saw something which was non-obvious, which was a creative step forward. So then the other people have not found it, but you have found it. On that basis, you'll get a patent. So that is what is an ordinary skill in the art and a step forward. So now let's see, you want to create a product. First, you'll see what are the closest inventions, then compare it, determine what are the distinctive features of the new invention that you wish to create, establish features which have a new functionality or they provide a technical solution to a problem in the prior art. What was existing before us, you have created something better. This is called a problem and solution approach. That means you have gone through the steps to find out what is out there, and then you created something beyond that. Now, this is a very simple thing, but we all use it. It is available everywhere. That bottle of sauce that you have a valve in, and you can keep it upside down, it will not spill. As simple as that. Invention is simple, but it is useful for the society. So the person called Paul Brown, he perfected this technology in 112 attempts, and he patented this valve in 91. Now all these sauce companies have taken it, and it's a simple thing, but it is useful for the society. So people have to, then he licensed it to different companies who make ketchup, and they are now in the market, and you have a simple product, but it is ingenuity. So what is an invention? An invention is any new or useful. It may be a process, it may be a method. So we have process patents and we have method patents, like how do we manufacture something, the method of manufacturing something. It may be a machine, it may be a substance like DDT or a drug. So it should be new, and then it should be useful, and it's an improvement of the technology. So I've just given this from the Stone Age. We had a stone wheel, and now we have radial tires and so on and so forth. So the technology from Stone Age to Bronze Age to Iron Age to now IT Age, it's going on. And this is how humanity and human civilization is depending on technology for its development. So this is the first bicycle that was patented. And you see the whole cycle of it getting improved to the ultra modern style. So the innovation is going on, and it will go on, because we provide a platform, we provide a law, we give the instruments to protect your innovation, and you will invest more in it and create more. Now, the simple example of light bulb. In 1802, Humphrey Davy showed in principle. Then from the lab, it went to a commercial production where Henry Woodward and Matthew Evans, they created the bulb, but then they subsequently sold it to Thomas Edison. And everybody says that Thomas Edison has invented the bulb. No, it was done by these two scientists in Canada. Then they have sold the patent to Edison. He improved it, made it a commercial available. So we have seen incandescent lamp to CFL to LED and so on. So this is what is innovation happening and our lives are getting better. So now you have seen these Apple computers. This is the first prototype, and then so on and so forth. So how sleek and beautiful it is, thinner than your notebook. So this is called innovation, and it affects the society. The next tool that we'll take is copyrights. Again, copyrights is everywhere. You have your music, your books, your movies, your photographs, your databases and software also in India are protected under copyright. So it's a very important right because we are an IT economy. So it's again, original work of authorship fixed in a tangible medium of expression. So unless you have put down your idea in the form of a book or a manual or something, it is not tangibly expressed. You have to express it. You have to write a web page, you have to write a book or a manual or something, then it is tangibly expressed. Now, it's a bundle of rights. You can create a number of copies, you can communicate to the public, you can sell it to a movie director to create a movie. So Devdas was written in Bengali. Then it has been translated from in a book form in several languages. And then it has been adapted into movies in different generations of it. So you see how much a work of art and intellectual creation can be used and in different forms. But we have to do it. The director has to give credit. He has to give royalty. The publisher who publishes has to provide royalty to the person who created that intellectual work. So unless we know these things, we cannot do that. Now, there are treaties world over because we are in a digital age, and with the internet coming in, there's too much of knowledge created and documented. So we have treaties. So when it comes to software in India, software is not patentable in India because of its form. It's written down, the code is written down. So they have told that you can keep it a trade secret or you can copyright it. Okay, so there was a lot of confusion about what can be done. So ultimately guidelines were given from the Indian Patent Office, and they said, if you have a computer program in conjunction with the hardware, so you have a software which works with the hardware, then you can go ahead and see whether it is patentable. Standalone software has to be copyright protected and not patent protected. So now what will you do? The moment you create something, you write down a book, you write your software code. First thing you have to do is put a copyright notice. So what is a copyright notice? The title of the work. So here I'm taking example of one of my novels, Rain Shadow. Then put a copyright sign, put the year of publication, the author's name, and say all rights reserved. So this is what, when you open a book, you will see it on the page that these legal terms are mentioned. So whenever you create something and you think it's worth IPA, please put a copyright notice on that, and then only you can proceed further for registration. That is ideal. Now, because we are in an academic institution and we have to write papers, we have to create research work. What will you do? First thing, your advisor will say, go see what is out there in the literature. So you will do review of literature. You'll gather the information, create a hypothesis, you'll test the hypothesis, analyze the data, interpret, and then publish. When you go to publication, again, you'll have to create a list of references. Where did you get that information from? So these things have to be inculcated in your students, that how you have to go about writing your assignment or research papers and give due credit. Why is it important? Because it has to go in the scientific method where you have your keywords, you will review the literature, and then you will write everything according to your topic of your question that you're trying to answer. But in the end of the document, you have to create a list of references, acknowledge the source. If you do not acknowledge the source, it will be plagiarism. And in academic circles, plagiarism is a crime. So you have to seek permission from the author, give proper attribution and citation. This is very, very important for the students as well as the teachers to know, because it's an academic dishonesty otherwise. So a citation is an information about a resource which you have used in your work. So you have to give proper credit and you should know how to cite your resources correctly. This way you will avoid plagiarism and anything that comes along with that. Why it is important? Because Rosalind Franklin, this is the photo 51 of DNA, which she created, the crystallogram. And then when the Nobel Prize was awarded for The structure of DNA, Watson, Crick, and Wilkins got it, but she was not credited. So this is a loss for a scientist that their work has not been cited, has not been credited, because it's very sad. So whenever you go to a movie, please don't leave without seeing the credits, because some people have worked on it, but you have enjoyed or seen or read. So these rights are available for respecting the artists. Okay. So what happens is that internet is a great source. You'll go find some papers, you'll write something down, and you'll submit your assignment. But it may be plagiarism because you've not quoted it properly. You've not given the citation properly. You have not acknowledged the resource. This becomes an infringement. It's a crime. So copyright infringement is a legal term, and it is a crime to not cite the proper references. You have used the rights of a person without permission. Because you are infringing on the right of somebody else, you are doing a illegal thing. So you cannot create copies of a book and distribute. You cannot make a play out of a book. You cannot do it. You should not do it. You should take the permission and give the proper credit and royalty. So we should understand how not to break the law. And especially in academic circles, it is very, very important to understand these things. So if something is in public domain, you can use it. And there are fair use. For example, you're a researcher. So you use it only for your research and then you give a citation, which is doable. And then there are Creative Commons material and there are open source. People who are in information technology can go to the open source codes and modify it. So there are legal terms, the licenses have to be read, and we have to understand how you have to do it. So give the attribution and the citation and use them. So read all the licenses and be within the legal framework. That's very important. And all these Creative Commons and open source material is available. So for example, it says, give the citation, do not use commercially. And if you cite, you also, you create something, you allow other people to modify it. So all those things are available. So people should understand that. Now, copyright is easily gotten. It's very simple, but patent has to go through a very stringent criteria. So whatever is easier to obtain is a loose right, while whatever is difficult to obtain is a very strict right. Now, whenever you go to the market, you will go and buy things of your favorite brand, which is a trademark, which is an intellectual property. So now trademark is a sign or a visual symbol that individualizes your goods. Not only goods, services. You have a favorite airline, which is a service provider. So it may be fanciful, it may be suggestive, but it should be distinctive so that people, psychology is that they will put it in their psyche and their mind and they will always relate to it. So this is the brand Pepsi. So see how it has evolved over the years. And it stays in our mind, the color combination, the red, blue, and white. Similarly, the tagline, if I say Maggie, you will say 2 minutes. That means there's a tagline, and the tagline is also an intellectual property. Then the trade dress, you see the yellow and red combination. Maggie means 2 minutes and that red and yellow combination. So this is how the psychology of the customer is. And this is, again, a technical term, a legal term, which is called the trade dress. Your favorite chocolate. So the shade of purple, you can see the number is given. It cannot be copied by anybody else. So whatever you use in your daily life has trademarks. It may be a collective mark like Wi-Fi. We all are using Wi-Fi today. Or silk mark on your saris, or wool mark on your sweaters. So these are all collective marks. And of course, Amul, it's a cooperative. So these are collective marks. And then when you buy a packet of chips, you'll see whether FSSAI is there or not. Because if you take a drug, you'll say, oh, is it FDA approved or not? Or is there an ISI mark on that? So the thing is, we relate to these certifications as things which are safe to use. Again, people will try to imitate it. This is very common. It's called infringement of the trademark and passing off. So they're deliberately deceiving you. So from Starbucks, it becomes Hadar Baksh and Sattar Baksh and so on. And so the combination of white, green, and black, see, it's just deceptive. People went to court and then they sorted it out. Similarly, Coca-Cola. So this Chica Loca is a Mexican travel company. So they sued them for trademark dilution. So it is not allowed. You cannot use the same font, the same color combination, because it is a legal protected. Again, trade secrets, they are not in the public domain. They are neither patented, but if you can keep a secret, it has a long life. So the Coca-Cola formulation, the Mac sauce, and the KFC chicken recipe, all these are secrets. And if you can keep a secret, well, it is an IP. So now for all the people who are in biological sciences, this is for you, the Plant Variety Protection Act. And it says Protection of Plant Variety and Farmers' Right Act. So if you're a farmer, you can save the seed. If it has a novel, distinct, uniform, and stable criteria fulfilled, then you can save it as a PVP. The other IP is integrated circuit layout. So it is a design of the IC. This is very interesting, industrial design, because this is the process of designing manufactured products. So all these bottles you see, the perfume bottles, your instruments, your gadgets, these are all protected under industrial design, and they are industrially produced in mass quantity. So it will be a registered. So you'll see on the back of a box, registered design or gone for design registration and so on. So it's about the, not about the functionality. It is about the aesthetic part of the configuration and the shape and other things. The functionality is protected under patents. So it is mass produced. Whenever something is mass produced, it will be industrial design. If you just design something, it'll be copyright. But when it becomes mass produced, it'll be industrial design because it is appealing to the customer. And nobody should create a substantial copy of what you have created. If that is done, that is infringement. We don't want to get into legal hassle. So we should understand. So now branding, which goes to a next level, is Apple. So you have seen the Apple computer. Now you see the Apple computer store. So the iconic glass cube, all glass facade and a glass staircase in between. It is protected by a design patent. So this is the level to which you can brand, you can create a relationship with your customer. If you understand these concepts, you will utilize it in real life. See the glass staircase inside. So this is the level of branding, and this is the level of ingenuity which human beings have reached. So now this is just one small case that Nokia filed a patent for touchscreen technology. But now you see touchscreen everywhere. So they actually sued Apple for using that touchscreen technology. They have patented it and kept it, but Apple didn't realize that. So they took them to court. And for every single piece of Apple phone which is sold in perpetuity, Apple has to pay back a royalty to them. So this is the power of intellectual property. If you have created something and you have protected it properly, and you are vigilant that your rights are not being infringed, if it is being infringed, you have to take action. And then it will be a multi-million-dollar deal. It has happened. Now, how do you ascertain that it is out there? Please note down these different databases of world intellectual property. There's a design database, there's a patent database. You have to go search. Use your keywords and search. So Maggie, if you put Maggie in the brand database, you'll get this red and yellow symbol. Avoid that. Create something else. Be creative. Now, similarly, if you go and search for a bottle design, you'll get all these. Avoid these and create something else. So it is out there. We have to be aware. So I hope from today you will go to the WIPO site and USPTO site and find out what is out there and design something different. So that's the whole idea. But then when you innovate, you have to manage. First is concepts. So what we are going today through this presentation is concepts. So you create something which is right. Until you define everything and you ultimately create a startup, there has to be these concepts which have to be followed. So from the idea to design, you
Madam, please unmute yourself.
Farah, you've gone on mute. Kindly unmute.
Okay, is it audible now?
Yes, madam. Yes. Madam.
Okay. So before you go to the market or publish your paper, understand whether you want to create an IP or you want to publish. If you publish something, you cannot IP it. So the first moment you understand this is well worth protecting by a patent or a trademark or whatever, first go to the attorney, file a non-disclosure agreement, create an invention disclosure, let him take it to the patent office. Okay. Meanwhile, you work on it, show actual working of an invention from your prototype, create all the things that show that novelty is there, inventive step is there, utility is there, and keep improving. So you can have a process patent or a product patent or a utility patent, but remember, the first person who files will get the patent. Understand what is prior art? Any evidence that your invention is already known is a, if it is there, you should not do that. You should do something a step ahead. So first thing is to be aware what is going on in your area of specialization. If you are a biotechnologist, you should know what is going on in the market, what is going on in the labs, then create something which is beyond that. Okay. So first thing is to search and do a SWOT analysis. Understand the state of the art, know your competitors, and then only you put your money in a project. Because if you have the freedom to operate, then only you can proceed further. Otherwise, you will be infringing on somebody else's intellectual property. So do not do that. So if you have an idea, see which is good enough to be taken forward, create a portfolio, and continuous process of reviewing and seeing which has to be taken forward. If you cannot take it forward, give it to somebody, assign it, sell it, out-license it, and take the royalty. And if nothing works, then you go and publish your paper. So please remember that. So now I have been talking till now about individual rights and private rights and company rights. Now this is a Champagne. This is actually a region in France. A community which lives in Champagne, France, creates a product, which is a white wine. So this is a geography, and they have a geographical indication on that wine because it comes from that soil. It is under that agroecological condition, and that gives its product. Now, these are community rights, and the biodiversity of an area, the natural resources, the traditional knowledge, all these things come together to create a product which has a community right, and it is a specific thing which comes only from the geography. These are called geographical indications. Then I have written a term called TCE, which is traditional cultural expressions. So these are also about people and their communities and the different knowledge that they have about, say, Ayurvedic drug or something. So whenever we have these associations of geoclimatic factors, it will give a specific characteristics, quality and reputation to a product. And the traditional knowledge of the people from generations that has come, they will create these wonderful internationally traded commodities. And these are critical to the livelihoods of those communities who stay there in our geography. These are community rights. So we have to acknowledge this. And then this GI was created as an acknowledgement. It's a notice that tells the customer that this is a product which has originated from a given geographical area. It has specific quality. Then we give a trademark. Just like trademark, we get GI marks. And then the owners of the GI are the groups or the communities, community associations, who are the custodians. So this is having a clear history and reputation. Every GI product, for example, Darjeeling tea can come only from Darjeeling, which is in West Bengal. Nilgiri tree will come only from Nilgiris, similarly, and so on and so forth. So Prabha will speak more on that. So the geographical location and the geoclimatic factors are on one end, then the human skills are on the other. Together they will work and create a special product, which has a reputation and which has a history. It's very important because all the things cannot be protected, but which again fulfill the strict criteria. So there are two things. There's a human factor and a natural factor. So the higher the natural factor, if human factor is more, then it can be manufactured anywhere. But the natural factor, the soil condition, the soil nutrients, all those things will be contributing to it. So you get a registration and you will get a certificate from the government, which is a GI certificate. All these are very famous GIs of the world and of India. Your Guntur chilies and your Baidgi chilies, all those things are GIs. These are the cheese, which are, there are trade wars fought over cheese all over the world. These are our Monsoon Malabar coffee and so on. Of course, your Mysore silk, the Banarsi, the Kalamkaris, the Kanjivarams, these are all GIs of India. Thank you. And I will hand it over to Prabha to talk about GI further ahead and the initiatives. Thank you very much. Okay, I stopped sharing now.
Thank you, ma'am, for your wonderful talk.
Farah, can you exit the screen?
Yeah, I have exited. Stop sharing. Okay. Yeah, I've exited. Please go ahead.
Yes. So thank you so much, Dr. Farah. And on behalf of Nehru College and Visvesvaraya Trade Promotion Center, Department of Industries and Commerce, Government of Karnataka, once again, a very warm welcome to each one of you who has logged in from different parts of the country and the state for this very interesting, I would say, and timely seminar. Interesting, I say, because, you know, as you've heard from my predecessor, Dr. Farah, I'm sure by the end of it, you know, you've got some, I'm sure you've got some key takeaways regarding as to what the IP toolkits are, and, you know, basically demystifying the entire spectrum. And important essence is to tell you that, hey, look, while, you know, we may think that IP is, you know, probably a rocket science. It is not always, because there are different ways of protecting your intellectual property, as Dr. Farah just pointed out. It needn't be only a patent, which is a technical kind of an invention, as a product or a process. It could be other avatars, like we discussed, as to how you can protect your intellectual creativity, your ingenuity through, say, copyright, or through, say, industrial design, you know, which is, you know, basically the aesthetics of any substance. So if you don't want to do something hardcore, or let's say I'm not a technical person, I can always look at some aesthetic part of, let's say, a pen, a cell phone, or any kind of an instrument, a gadget, a tool, a device, and anything aesthetic can be protected under what is called as intellectual property. So you have seen as to how, if the farmers also come up with their ingenuity and, you know, new kinds of plant varieties, how that also can get some kind of protection. So remember, basically, intellectual property is a bundle of rights. That is the overall umbrella called IPR, and under that you have various tools like, you know, patents, copyrights, trademarks, designs, plant varieties, trade secrets, and of course the geographical indications, which I always say is a lesser known IP tool. And it's been rightly called as the sleeping beauty of intellectual property, a beauty which needs to wake up because it has tremendous potential. So let me now share my screen, and let me take you through some interesting insights in the arena of IP, you know, especially the geographical indications. So friends, I represent Visvesvaraya Trade Promotion Center, and you all know it's the nodal agency for the promotion of international trade from the state of Karnataka. But not sure how many of you are aware that not many states in the country have an exclusive export promotion center. Yes, exports do happen pan-India, but, you know, in many states, it would be one of the functions and one of the lines in the bureaucracy, and where exports also is part of it. Whereas here we are, Karnataka and a few other states, where an exclusive nodal agency has been appointed to take care of international trade. And we have been here since quite some time, since 1971. So under the Societies Act, we were registered, and core functions being the export and trade promotion services that we facilitate. A whole variety of foreign delegation visits we coordinate, then we participate in national and international trade fairs. We participate and we facilitate as well. We have a lot of facilitation services, which is the core of our activities. Addressal of exporter grievances, then capacity building programs. We have there's something called as export management training program, which is a complete incisive 6 days program where anybody who wants to understand the nuances of exporting or getting into the exports arena, and who's just a novice, can attend this program for 6 days. And not just them, even people who are already in the field of international trade, they can attend this 6 days program to keep themselves abreast. And also budding exporters who want to enter the field, and those who are entrenched. It's for everyone. And, you know, from starting from what are the licenses you require and what are the first steps to get into international trade, to the whole lot of issues and documentation involved with the customs authorities and in the exporting, and how packaging is important, what is the role of export promotion councils while you're trading, and who are the successful exporters and what are their stories, and how packaging is equally important. It's not just about exporting your wares, it's also about how you pitch it to the international markets. So how do we go about that? How do you set up the global benchmarks when you're exporting? We take you through all this in the 6 days incisive export management training program. Of course, we have EAPs called as export awareness programs across the districts in the state. It is, subject wise. It could be on agriculture, the whole, gamut of agricultural commodities. It could be on industry specific. So exporting as in, different commodities and general awareness as to how you go about transacting in international trade. Various kinds of seminars and workshops also we conduct. We also have our industrial policy, which has a lot of features for industry and for export fraternity. And one of them is the Market Development Assistance Scheme. Now, this is something very interesting for exporters who want to go abroad, scout their markets, find out, do the buyer-seller match. So this particular scheme says that you can avail almost 75% of airfare. That is the reimbursement we provide. And that besides, we have a DA component as well. And this is where the exporters find it very interesting and a successful and shortcut way to get success in international markets, where you get to see live who are your trading partners and the potential that exists in country to country. So this is the scheme that we implement. VTPC implements this particular scheme. We also facilitate the special economic zones, SEZs, from the state when we have separate incentives, concessions, and policy also for that. And we also conduct annual export awards for excellence. So how do we reward the meritorious exporters, who have been coming up with new kinds of initiatives and who have been exporting to world markets and adding to the countries and the state's exchequer? How do we do that? So this is one particular small gesture where Honorable Chief Minister of Karnataka, year after year, we organize this program under his aegis, and he gives away the awards to exporters under various categories. And this is what VTPC implements, one of the schemes. This besides, there are several measures. I said there are different other measures which are announced in the state's industrial policy from time to time. We implement that. And of course, the geographical indications policy, the subject that I'm now going to deal with. And Karnataka was the first state in the country to come out with an exclusive policy to protect the traditional legacies of the artisans. We'll come to that. And of course, a whole lot of intellectual property right programs we conduct. And these are specific, to every tool of intellectual property or every facet of intellectual property. It's about how you create your intellectual property, how you protect it, IP infringements, IP creation, IP commercialization. So the entire gamut of intellectual property rights and the spectrum. Now, Farah has very beautifully, summed up, and she's probably whet your appetite as well regarding geographical indications. So you've understood by now that it is an indication which identifies goods from, basically the classification is like this. All the GIs are categorized in agriculture segment, handicraft, natural goods, manufactured, and foodstuff. So these are the categories which have been recognized world over. And under these categories only, the geographical indications are registered. And as Farah was giving you examples, basically, it's some product which originates from a specific locality or region, and it has some properties which have established because of the specific qualities of the soil, the climate, the water, or the processes that people have been involved in, the manual processes, the skill that has been involved. All these have been handed over from generation to generation, and people are still nurturing it. That is the special quality about geographical indications. And as far as India is concerned, we are governed by the Geographical Indication of Goods Registration Protection Act 1999, which came into force in year 2003. And of course, it was recently amended in year 2020, where it was simplified regarding how to go about registering the authorized users. The forms were simplified. So a couple of amendments were there, which was for the good of the artisan community. And the GI Act of 1999 is a sui generis legislation enacted by India. So this is specific to our country. And you all know that we have been members of the World Trade Organization, the founder members, where we have signed the TRIPS agreement. However, countries are free to frame their own legislations depending on the need and customizing it to the requirement of their citizens. Farah has put up all, but just as a point of recall, some of the world famous, the popular GI tag products. Not sure if you heard about Idaho potatoes. In US, there is a specific region and where these potatoes are very popular, and it has got some speciality about it, be it the taste or the soil from which it originates, and hence it got a tag. Similarly, Roquefort cheese. Then you have in France, and then Pingu peaches. Now, Pingu farms in China, in Beijing, it bills itself as one of the largest peaches orchards in the world, because it also provides employment to lots of people. So you can see as to how geographical indications can also be an effective tool to uplift the artisans of any region, any community. And Pingu peaches is one such example. Similarly, Georgian wine, Swiss watch. I'm sure you have heard about all these. Colombian coffee, something very special, either about the flavor, from the kind of background it has, the skills, the processes involved, or the ancient, ingredients or the traditions that have basically gone into it, which has given. These are some of them. There are many, many more. Now coming to India, we were the country announced its first intellectual property rights policy in 2016. That was when India got its first national IPR policy. And then, the Indian GI logo was also an outcome of that policy once it was announced. And that's the logo that you can see there, orange and green, which came out from CPAM, which is a department under the Department of Industrial Policy and Promotion, which was renamed as DPIIT. As on date, my dear friends, you may be aware that India has registered 370 geographical indications by the Geographical Indications Registry, which is the apex body to register the geographical indications in the country. And as I said, here we have this category under agriculture, handicrafts, manufactured and natural goods is where the GIs have been registered. Quickly, as a point of recall again, although Farah has put up some beautiful pictures, so we can see this was India's first registered geographical indication, the Darjeeling tea, and who does not know about them? It has entered the menu charts across the world, across the restaurants in the world. That is the kind of success Darjeeling tea has made a dent. And this is how we have to look at all other GI products also penetrating different regions and, going across boundaries seamlessly. Now, Nagpur oranges. All of us, as children and as we grew, we knew that, places are important and tied and tagged to some specific products, but probably we were not aware that it was given a name of geographical indications, which is an intellectual property and which is a community right. Now, this Konark, stone carving, that is also, an intellectual property. And this is Bengal Rasgulla. Of course, Orissa also registered its Rasgulla, which is a different one. So both Rasgullas were registered and both are different, please remember, because a lot of people think that, whether it was West Bengal, which one, or Orissa, which one. But my dear friends, let me tell you, both won because they are the different varieties of Rasgullas which have got registered. Kindly mute yourselves, friends. A Pashmina shawl. When you go to Kashmir, exotic Kashmir, which is a paradise on earth, as they say, you will find this Pashmina shawl, and who does not know about them? This particular GI is one example as to how the artisans, community, and the government went ahead, making some best practice benchmarks as far as quality and certification is concerned to make this particular GI successful. When I say successful, I mean, if you want to buy a Pashmina shawl, they have taken steps to ensure some kind of a RFID tag and other things to ensure that you do not get deceived. You get the right Pashmina shawl and not the duplicate one. So steps have been taken by the artisans themselves and facilitated by the government. Basmati rice, it's very popular GI, which is shared by a couple of states. Now this one, can you say what this is, my dear friends, this embroidery work that I've put up? This is Fulkari. This is another embroidery which emanates from the Himachal region. This is from Haryana, basically. This is a GI which has been registered. And these are Katputlis of Rajasthan. Very, very popular GI. And of course, this is the Madhubani paintings of Bihar. And this is the from Karimnagar, Filgri. You must have heard about it. Filgri work of Karimnagar. And Alfonso mangoes, who doesn't know about it? The mouth-watering, yummy, yummy ones. These are Tanjore paintings. We also have Mysore traditional paintings as well, which you'll see in the next slides coming up. And this is Vasakuram pineapple, emanating from that particular region in Kerala. This also has a GI tag and has got very special properties. Coimbatore wet grinder. Under the manufactured segment, this is one of the items. And Coimbatore wet grinder, they say, has some very, very special taste and aroma about it once the dough is ground on this particular GI product. So quickly a sneak peek about Karnataka. So I was telling you that the country has registered 370 geographical indication tag products across different categories that have been approved by law. And Karnataka, you'll be proud to know, has registered 42 GIs, the leaders in the country. 42. While the list would say it is 46, that's because 4 GIs in the ancient regime where the logos were also given the status of GIs, but we would like to call it as 42 plus 4. So 42 GIs, the leaders in the country. Now, what are those GIs all about? Well, Farah was mentioning about Mysore silk. This was the first registered GI from Karnataka. And incidentally, in the textile segment. So you can see some of these in the textile segment, which we have put out here. You have Ilkal saris when you go to the North Karnataka region, Bagalkot. So next time when my women friends drape this, you must say, hey, I have draped this GI of Karnataka, and which is an intellectual property. With pride, you have to say that. And I urge my men fraternity here to also be liberal in donating gifts and giving it to their respective spouses or sister or children, just to bring out the importance and significance of an intellectual property. This also is an important tool where the artisans are impacted. So why not patronize them, buy them? Molkalmuru saris, Chitradurga district, when you go there next time, don't forget to pick up the beautiful Molkalmuru saris. Udupi saris. It was some time back a waning kind of a GI, which was languishing, but thanks to the efforts of, a couple of dedicated people and some curators of traditional handloom, this is getting revived, and BTPC also is working in its resurrection. Gullet Good Khana, blouse pieces again from North Karnataka region, special, from that particular region. So I think there's plenty here for the women fraternity in the textile segment that you can pick up. And next time when you drape this, you have to say that with pride that you have draped a intellectual property right tool or a GI of Karnataka. Navalgun Daris, while it falls it's a textile weave, but it falls under the handicrafts classification of the geographical indications registry. And this is also a beautiful weave, which, the history says that Muslim women, the Muslim community used to weave this. Beautiful patterns. And there are 2-3 varieties here. And those are all, different sizes and shapes, huge carpets, and some were for performing namaz. And one kind was for storing the food grains, different ones. And if you go to Navalgund region, you'll find the women fraternity very passionately weaving these. Come to the coffees. Not sure if you're aware that Karnataka is the GI coffee hub of India, because we have 5 out of 7 GI registered coffees in the country have been registered by Karnataka. And Mysore region is the coffee hub. You can call Mysore region, you can call as the GI hub as such of Karnataka, because we have around 8 to 9 GIs emanating from Mysore region, and a couple of these coffees also adjoining regions of Mysore. Coorg green cardamom, that's another wonderful GI for you. Then, in the agricultural segment, we have the maximum. We have 22 in the agricultural segment, 16 in handicrafts, 3 in manufactured goods, and of course, 1 in foodstuffs. Apimidi mango, which is the pickle variety, Bangalore blue grapes. I understand there is a lot of rich vitamins and minerals in this particular one, and it's an export potential product, a crop. The Nanjangud banana, which sometime back was in the red, but then thanks to the efforts of GKVK, this had a turnaround. And this is another very interesting fruit, which has a GI tag. Bangalore rose onion, another 100% export-oriented unit. Bairige chilies. Udupi Matugala brinjal, coming from the Udupi region. This is also a GI tag crop. You have Coorg orange, Devanali pomelo, Kamlapur red banana, and the peppers, Malabar pepper. And then, under this category, you can bring in Sirsi supari as well, which recently, a year ago, got a GI tag. And, once Sirsi supari got a GI tag, Areca nut got a real good name and status, a very enhanced status, because it's a special IP, a GI for Karnataka. Mysore beetle leaf, that's another GI for you. Then here we also have 3 varieties of jasmine which have been registered as GI tag crops in Karnataka. So the idea of putting out these slides and spending a few minutes is as a point of recall. Next time when we look at these products, we have to look at it from a different perspective that, hey, these are impacting the livelihoods of artisans in the state. So why not we work towards this? Why not we patronize it? Or are there different ways in which we can be part of this particular community or group? So these 3 varieties of jasmine, and then you have Gulbarga Tur Dal, which was a recent addition a year ago, just before the COVID pandemic. This was registered. Dharwad Peda, very interesting, because this was not only Karnataka's only and first GI to be registered under foodstuffs category, but it is also the country's first GI to be registered under the foodstuffs category. That's Dharwad Peda for you and me. Kinhal Toys, beautiful cluster in Kinhal village where we had a wonderful walkthrough 2 years ago, and where you can find the artisans, coming out with those wonderful life-size statues using natural ingredients, which this GI is all about. For instance, the bark of the tamarind tree is used as a glue to bind the toys. And then, natural colors are used. The processes that are used are manual. So this is what is special about Kinhal toys. And of course, different kinds of patterns and all are there, which are molded, and the toys have extreme potential, but they need to be marketed well. Similarly, Channapatna Toys and Dolls, who is not aware of it? And especially when we are driving towards, let's say, Mysore region. This is a real feast for the eyes, a colorful spectacle that we see on the roads, Channapatna Toys, and immense potential, because, it has a special feature that is, they are lacquerware products. Sandur Lambani embroidery. I would call this as a case of a successful and mature, one of the successful and mature GIs of Karnataka, where in the Sandur region, Bellary district, you find this particular cluster, and you'll find it highly organized, where, a lot of work has gone into it, and how the women, especially the Sandur Lambani women, are, coming out with these wonderful magical weaves and different kinds of products thanks to the embroidery. Kasuti embroidery in Dharwad region, that's another one. And then women, all of us know how these embroidery work is done on the saris. So next time when you're picking up a Kasuti sari, remember the speciality of this GI is it does not have a front or reverse side. Both the sides are the same, and that is a speciality, and that is how you can find out whether this is authentic or not. Because these days machine made are being done, which is not the authentic one. Authentic one is the hand woven one, which will not have a reverse or a front. It will be both will be the same. Kolhapuri chappals, that was also a recent addition 1.5 to 2 years ago. That's another, I needn't tell about it. That's a popular one, which people are aware. Bidri wear, another wonderful, you have a range of products if you look at their catalog, and wonderful properties, wonderful, the background, the story about Bidri wear, how the products have gone through, what is the process involved, is something very interesting which you should look at. Then you have Karnataka bronze, which is also registered as a GI. So Mysore, I was telling you, is the GI hub of Karnataka. So you can see Ganjifa cards of Mysore. I would urge my friends, and especially the youngsters, to patronize this particular art, because this has tremendous potential, and this needs to be marketed and branded well, because Ganjifa cards of Mysore, teaches about the history, the legends, the culture. It mirrors our cultural ethos. So this is where we need to patronize and promote this particular art. Mysore sandal soap. It has 100+ years of history, and perhaps the only soap we say has sandalwood oil in it. That's a special GI product from Karnataka. Mysore sandalwood oil also is there. Mysore rosewood inlay, Mysore agarbatti, Mysore traditional paintings. These are all some wonderful GIs, and some of them, as you can see, can be patronized as mementos. And you can, use it as giftable items, either by the corporates or the households or by the colleges when you're conducting programs. You can think of GI products as mementos. And I was telling you, there are 4 GI logos that have been registered. And these are the 4. Ganjifa cards, Karnataka bronze, Rawalgund daris, and Mysore silk have registered logos as well. So what are the key initiatives in the GI front from the state of Karnataka? As I was just telling you, we are the first state in the country which came out with the specific exclusive geographical indications policy in the year 2019. And VTPC, Visvesvaraya Trade Promotion Center, has been nominated as a nodal agency for promotion of GIs, and Managing Director of VTPC, who's from the Department of Industries and Commerce, he is the nodal officer. And under his steward leadership, we are seeing GIs are seeing the light of the day, and a lot of initiatives and efforts are being taken to promote this particular lot. So some of the key highlights of the GI policy, as I've put out there, we have scheme for capacity building and skill development among the GI producers, support for authorized users. So who are the authorized users? Can you or me, the Aam Aadmi, start selling GI products just as we can set up shop for just about anything? Today, if you or me aspire to become an entrepreneur and set up shop for XYZ product, all we have to do is, follow the compliances, ROC registration, and it's all set. You follow all that and you set up your shop. But can we do that with the GI products? I want to trade in Udupi Mattugula. I want to, start selling Mysore traditional paintings. For example, I want to start selling Mysore sandal soap. Can I start this particular venture? The answer is no, if you have not registered yourself as an authorized user. So the GI product has two parts, part A and part B. Part A is the registration of the GI. So any GI which gets registered is, gets registered under part A of the GI registry. Part B is who are the sellers of this, who are the users of this, who are going to trade in that. That is called as an authorized user. So the answer is you and me can actually get into this beautiful world of geographical indications if we register ourselves with the GI registry following the definition of the producer. There's a definition as to who can register themselves as an authorized user. So as per the definition, a producer or trader can register himself or herself under this part B. But there is a small bit of compliances there, but those are very simple, and BTPC has been facilitating registration under this category, and you can get in touch with us after this program in case you're interested. Then, of course, the policy, GI policy also announced the Market Development Assistance Scheme, which is almost similar to what I was telling you, the scheme which is in existence in Karnataka for exporters. But this has been specifically tailored for the GI fraternity who want to participate in the national, international, and domestic forums. We also have announced a digital platform to facilitate GIs, which I'll take you through in the next slides. And of course, the branding, publicity, marketing, GI tourism, which are so important. Impact study facilitation scheme, where we undertake, this studies of various GI clusters to understand the roadmap, the SWOT, what are the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats with each of the GIs, and what is it that we can do. That's the roadmap we come out with to understand how we can take it forward to the next level. And of course, the new GI filings. So I was telling you about the authorized user drive. So this is one of the initiatives announced in the policy, and Karnataka has been proactive on this. Even before the GI policy for Karnataka was announced in 2019, we had started driving the authorized user base, because we realized that there were hardly any users for all the GI products. While we had 42 GIs and we are leaders in the country, we had very few registered authorized users. They were just about 9, if I remember right. Yes, and from 9 numbers, we started, facilitating registration of artisans under various GI, handicraft segment, especially GI products. And today, I'm proud to tell you that the number stands at 399. So there are 399 registered authorized users from Karnataka across various GI products. And this was, I must thank our managing director, who was, who had just stepped in at that time, who had been transferred from the Department of Industries and Commerce. And his first question was that when a GI policy is on the anvil, who are the users of it? And that is how we started working backwards. And before the policy was announced, we started doing this drive with all the zeal, without unmindful of a budget. And it was then, the particular scheme was different, and there was a small little fee that was involved in registering the artisans, but he did not mind, and he said we can go ahead and promote these artisans. And that is how today I can proudly talk to you in the slide saying that Karnataka's authorized user base stands at 399. Many more are there in the pipeline, which is under scrutiny by the GI registry. So maximum numbers so far we have been able to facilitate for Bidri ware. And here I would like to give you the example as to how academia can be part of this GI story. Let me put on record the untiring efforts of MS Ramaiah College of Law IP cell, which came up and on a voluntary basis and worked on this particular study, impact study of Bidri ware. And that is where the outcome, one of the outcomes of the GI study was we were able to facilitate the authorized user drive, and the team at Ramaiah IP cell did a phenomenal job of identifying the right artisans, and then we organized a lot of programs for the Bidriware artisans whom we had identified. And then with this kind of a sensitization drive, we were able to register 166 authorized users for Bidriware. Kolhapuri chappals, we have been able to register so far 60 people under this. Kinhal toys 54, and of course all other categories are there, like Mysore rosewood inlay, traditional paintings, and Channapatna toys. The efforts are on for many more. So I was telling you that the GI policy has announced various measures, and of them GI tourism is also one of the important areas. So what VTPC is doing is, in unison with the department, the parent Department of Industries and Commerce, and with the help of the Bangalore International Airport team, we are working towards setting up an exclusive Karnataka pavilion, which will have a spotlight of the GIs also. So it will be an exclusive GI bay, you can call it, in the upcoming Kempegowda International Airport Terminal 2, which is not yet in existence, but which is on the anvil. And we are working towards this, to have a sprawling expanse of the GI products. Already at Terminal 1, some efforts were on to have a small store-in-store, and which was in the last leg of its operations. However, due to the COVID pandemic, things have got held up, but it's a matter of time when you'll be shortly seeing a small little store-in-store in Terminal 1 as well right now. And this would be an interesting way to showcase the GI artisans to the world. GI cluster awareness programs has been another key initiative from the department and from the VTPC. But again, because of the pandemic, this has come slightly to a halt right now because we are not able to live go to the clusters. But again, a matter of time, I believe that we'll be again back in the field and interacting with our artisan fraternity. So some of these programs that we had conducted and visited some of these clusters, which threw open new vistas, new insights, new experiences for us about the artisan fraternity and the geographical indications as such as to what can be done to take them to the next level. Because seeing is believing, and that's what happens when you visit the clusters. And I was telling you about the diagnostic study of specific GI clusters. So we have undertaken a few of them. And let me confess, my dear friends, and humbly put, our journey has just begun. Although I said that we are pioneers, with the largest number of GIs, it's not about the numbers, and it's not about being the first in the country to come out with the GI policy exclusive. It's about what and how all of us can together join hands to promote this particular space. So a couple of studies we undertook in our first leg, and these are some of the GIs where we have worked on to see as to what can be done in the next level for this. And let me tell you, in these studies, I can remember that most of them were academic teams which worked with us on a very passionate and almost kind of a pro bono basis. GI spotlight at exhibitions. So this is another important initiative, which we have taken. And this is where, I was telling you that the scheme is there, which helps us facilitate the artisan community. So while we conduct a plethora of exhibitions across the country, as I said, but here was, a time when we said that in these exhibitions, we will have an exclusive bay dedicated to the GIs also. So henceforth, when we have the India International Trade Fair exhibitions, which, happens every fortnight of November, we will be facilitating more and more GI artisans also in this through our scheme. And one interesting thing that I want to tell you is that this is a very, very useful and effective and a very powerful medium for artisans. Because, I remember that 2 years ago, before the pandemic, one of the GI products which had put up a stall there, they had no clue as to how effective and what kind of international footfalls happen in this particular place. So when they put out their stall, they realized that within 2 or 3 days, there was great demand for the products. And they did not know that the rest of the 10 days what they are going to do there. So quickly they helped, and VTPC and the artisan fraternity together helped put out this stall once again. They got their inventories, and this was one of the cases live where we saw that how the GI products, for its speciality, for its tradition, for its legacy, for its rich history, for its culture, how it found its rightful place in the national and international markets. Tremendous potential. E-commerce enablement of GIs of Karnataka is another key initiative that we have taken. And I was talking about digital platform, that's what we mentioned in our policy. And that's what the scheme talks about. And in the month of January this year, my dear friends, Government of Karnataka has signed up and inked MOUs with e-commerce players like Amazon Global and Flipkart to provide fillip to the sector like MSMEs, the artisans, GI stakeholders. And it's a matter of time when, we hope that the artisans will latch on to these e-commerce platforms and find tremendous potential in selling their wares. Now, there are a couple of other export initiatives which are happening right now as an export promotion center, which is also aiding the promotion of GIs, and EDCs is one of them, which I will come to the next slide. So, friends, Government of India, recently, some time back, and as we all know, has been talking about Atmanirbhar Bharat. So, under this vision of Atmanirbhar Bharat, a lot of schemes and initiatives are being announced and implemented by Government of India. So, as a result of that, these particular schemes that I have bulleted here found a place in the Government of India's initiatives. One is called as One District, One Product scheme. Now, what is this all about? Now, you must be aware that Uttar Pradesh, with so many districts, with 70 plus districts, has a policy for each of its districts. So they have a one district, one program. That is, one scheme is there for each district. They have identified one particular potential in each district. So on the lines of that, Government of India was persuading the states, pan-India, to take a look at ODOP as a very powerful medium to promote exports. One of the initiatives, So Karnataka also has taken a look at this, and we are currently working on and have identified that across all of our districts, what is that one product out of these so many potential products? Because it's a basket of products and goods that may have potential, all right. But what is that one particular product in one district that we want to earmark to facilitate and promote exports? So that is the ODOP program. So incidentally, how do I link this with GIs? Incidentally, in many of the districts in Karnataka, under the ODOP scheme of Government of India, which Karnataka is implementing, you will find a lot of GIs which have got prominence also. So while you may find in some districts, some particular products would be there, which is non-GI, but there are many districts where you will find GI product has been identified as the one potential product for promotion. So that's really good news for all of us. Then there's another initiative by Government of India called Developing Districts as Export Hubs. So here the idea is we are not talking about only one product. Here we are saying develop a particular district as an export hub, and that could have a basket of goods which can be promoted. So under this, when you're having a basket of goods which have been identified by Karnataka also for its districts, you'll be happy to see that these districts, almost all the districts, I would say, have the GIs mentioned there, which means GIs are going to get a tremendous thrust, impetus under this particular scheme also, which is called as Developing Districts as Export Hubs. And setting up of export development centers. Now, you'll also be happy to know that Government of India actually identified Karnataka as one of the pilot states in the country where exclusive EDCs, export development centers, can be set up. And, they identified 5. And if I remember, one is Shimoga. Then, we identified Bidar. Mysore has been identified. Ramnagara, and there's one more. So 5 districts, Hubli, 5 districts have been identified under this particular scheme called Export Development Centers. And it is here that under the scheme, a lot of these artisans are again going to find a rightful place in the e-commerce and other platforms through this particular initiative. Efforts towards new GI filings. Now that's another one. So here I would like to say, my dear friends, that like I, for one, personally, on a personal note, I believe that it's not about the numbers scheme. It's not about that every state has to rush around to file a GI for the sake of numbers. No. It's about, if the particular region is endowed with something, can we explore? Can we find out if there is something really interesting, a product which has some very ancient legacy and history? Can that be identified for filing a GI? That is our objective. So here, while I also, for one, personally believe that our prime responsibility is to first look at the GIs which are already there, registered. How much of it have we been able to work on? What is the kind of promotional measures we are taking? While that is very important, what is also important is that we should not miss the bus. Yes, so if there are regions, specific regions that you are also aware of in the state, which may have some very, very ancient kind of a legacy, a product or a crop which has been there, we will have to explore. So it's not that, there is something which you feel, is something ancient, but how ancient is that? Does it have a documentation? A very, very important key factor for getting a GI filing is that it should be as ancient as it can be. And a lot of people call me and they say that, like, madam, in some lane, that particular chart is so popular. Each street for one is dropped, that particular name people drop. There's fantastic things there. All right, but then how ancient is it? Is it something that has come up recently? And does it have a very, 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 very strong documentation about it? That is important because, to give you a simple example, everybody knows that Hyderabad biryani, for instance, is a special signature item of the land apart from the other items in Hyderabad or, let's say the Telangana region. But having, lived in Hyderabad for a long time, and when I came to know that Hyderabad biryani did not get a GI tag, I would like to highlight here that one of the important reasons is the documentation factor. So we'll have to look into the ancient history part of it. Call out documents. Can you bring out documents from the census, from the gazette, from the scriptures, from the ancient texts? It should have been documented somewhere that people were either cultivating it or using it, they were nurturing it, the particular tradition was in vogue, and till today, people are following those practices. Can we be able to do that? If yes, if the answer is yes, then it's worth the while to try for a GI filing. So these are a few questions that we must ask ourselves before going ahead with filing a GI. So in this regard, we have identified two specific GIs in the textile weave segment incidentally, and that is Melkote Panche and Patida Anchu, on which BTPC is currently working on. But there'll be a lot of challenges as we go around until we file a GI. So in the case of Melkote Panche, we are trying to get hold of a bunch of artisans from that region. So if people are from that region, and if you feel that you have seen or or there is an account or history of many artisans still there who are weaving the panche, please get in touch with us. It will help us in our study as well, because that is how we'll be able to establish many, many more important points and aspects which will be required for the GI filing process. So as I sum up and come towards the end of the slide, these are a few of my thoughts, and which I'm sure all of you will concur with me, that small little measures as citizens of this great land called Bharat and of the state, which is known for its bounty in many spheres. You name the product and Karnataka is number one, whether it is a policy sphere or whether it is, manufacturing industry products or agriculture products, so many areas where we can call ourselves as the leaders in the country. However, what is it that we should do for the state? While we are leaders, should we not sustain, should we not further nurture various other spaces that are there? So these are a few of my thoughts. And it is here where, I want you to also put your, thinking caps on and to see as to how we can work in unison. So can we all together not promote GIs as gifts and mementos in various platforms? Platforms are plenty. There are festivals, there are, occasions. There are so many milestones that happen in people's lives, and people want to gift. That's a beautiful tradition that we have. And that besides, our millennial kids, keep ordering from e-commerce platforms. So can we also pass on a message that let us also look at this particular segment besides others? So that is one. And second is, you can also help us in facilitating the authorized user drive. It is possible that, you may be aware that there are people who are selling ilkal saris, for example. There may be people who are selling, let's say Bidriware or let's say Sandur Lambani, many other things, but perhaps they were not aware that it requires a registered authorized user. registration certificate. So you could just suggest to them that they could get in touch with VTPC and they could guide them in the registration process, which I told you is a very, very simple process, not much of hassle there, simple forms, simple expectations regarding documentations, and we will facilitate it seamlessly. So if you come to know of any artisan under Channapatna Toys or any of these GIs that I put out, then please encourage them, ask them to register themselves so that the IP is effective. Then in the conduct of GI studies, I'm sure academia and other industry friends who are part of this program today, you can also think about some kind of a model which we can work out and work with you, where it could be just basically like covering your basic costs. So it's not about like a professional kind of an engagement, and that's what I personally also believe, that in the case of GIs for one especially, because when you talk about other tools of IP, like let's say patents, trademarks and all of that, it works differently. And commercialization for the inventor, I agree, is important, but when it comes to GIs, yes, we talk about GI commercialization, in the sense of giving value to the artisans, but can you and me be a catalyst to facilitate the artisans? It is like a throwback to the society. So think about how you can be part of the study of GI clusters and any other small measures in which we can uplift this particular community. And of course, you are always free to get in touch with us and let us know that yes, in some specific region, we believe that this is a potential GI which could be explored for filing. So let's discuss, because like a couple of colleges do keep calling and talking about a couple of products which they have heard of and which they believe have some kind of an ancient legacy and history. But the first question I would ask them is, we'll have to first do our homework before we get too excited. And we'll have to, as I told you, remember those checklists that I told you, we'll have to think about how ancient it is. Does it have a documentation? Are there people there live to prove it that they're indeed there? It should not happen that yes, something is there, but then people are not there to do it. So we have to talk to people, the artisans who actually represent this entire IP tool. Let's give value to them, more power to them. Now, talking of GI, can we not talk GI, walk GI, and leverage it through social media? And this message, especially for my young friends, and especially the millennials also who may be part of this program, that when you are putting out something on the wall, on Insta, and so many of that, which, many of us do not, go, you are the brand ambassadors, I would say. You are the brand ambassadors to take forward this message that, hey, people, there is this wonderful spectacle and colorful collage that I have to show you, called as geographical indications, which is an intellectual property of the country, not just the state, where ingenuity of humans is involved. And can we not uplift them as well? This is the message what I would be very happy if youngsters in particular and all of us in general can take it up. And that's one way where you'll really feel that you are giving some kind of a throwback, constructive throwback to the society, and where people really benefit and we leverage the rich potential of these geographical indications. And as I said, I just sum it up again: promote, encourage, patronize local artisans. They are our pride and mirror our rich heritage and culture. So friends, what are we waiting for? Let's work together. Let's put our minds together and, and at least contribute in a small measure. And I'm sure you and me you actually have more thoughts on this to share. And you may have experiences also to let us know as to how we can take it to the next level. So on that note, this is our address post the pandemic, and hoping that on 14th June, we are back to our desk at office. I invite all of you to make a visit in case the lockdown is lifted, and you can meet us anytime for any queries on geographical indications or IP support as such. You can meet us. We are flanked in between the Yes Bank and Visvesvaraya Museum on Kasturba Road. And just buzz and you are there, and let's meet up. Thank you so much for your time. I now open the floor for questions. We'll be very happy, Farah and me will be very happy to answer. And that's what we eagerly look forward to. Thank you so much, Nehru College, and all of you for this patient hearing and the opportunity provided to us. Thank you, my dear friends.
I have a question. You said that Hyderabad biryani could not get GI tag. Now,
yes,
after listening this, I am very curious to know how about Mysore Pak and Maddur Vada?
Yes, sir. So Mysore Pak does not have a GI tag. Okay, and VTPC has actually explored and done an exploratory study because Mysore Pak, a lot of people thought that there was a rumor that Mysore Pak was registered as a GI by Tamil Nadu. This happened actually a year ago when, there was some kind of a false tweet that did the rounds on Twitter, which went viral and which one of the local TV channels had picked up. And, they said that Mysore Pak has been filed by Tamil Nadu. But the actual story is that neither Karnataka nor Tamil Nadu had filed the registration. That's because Mysore Pak is not something very special, meaning, it is a particular sweet which is produced everywhere now. Anything that is generic loses the right to get an intellectual property. If you go back to the definition of IP, what is the novelty? So let's not forget the definition now. The novelty factor for any intellectual property is extremely important, be it a GI or an patent. So in the case of Mysore Pak, you have everywhere around, across people producing that sweet. So you cannot claim that it only belongs to the Mysore region. We have conducted an exploratory study, as I said, where certain benchmarks, criteria have been taken, and which points to the fact that filing this would be a loser's game. That is about Mysore Pak, because it's a generic sweet. You cannot go about filing. It is a speciality of the land, you can say, but not really a GI product. Yes, sir. You were mentioning about something else.
I'm told that there is an ancient historical background related to Mysore Pak.
Yes. There are many more. I can talk to you about this offline. There are many more, and some of them are rumors and some of them are documented. Yes, because you know that Mandapa, the cook, that story in the Mysore kitchen palace, all those are there. But then when you come to the real GI filing for this particular sweet, the generic nature has been one of the major inhibiting factors. And besides that, there are many other reasons why Mysore Pak cannot be filed as a GI.
Thank you, madam, for your enlightened presentation.
Thank you.
Worth listening, madam.
Thank you so much. We are open to questions, Farah and me.
I just wanted to add, Prabha, what you said, that there are criteria, and these criteria are based on different instruments. And for example, the history, the reputation, the different socio-cultural evidences they will take. And then they will decide whether it is an advantage to limit it to a particular community, or let it be public right, let everybody use it, make it. So there are conditions to be satisfied, and for each IP there are different criteria. Similarly, for GI the criteria is different, and they will take it through a test. So there will be different stages of a test, and accordingly they'll decide whether it is doable, whether it is in public interest or not. So please keep that in mind, the criteria, and there are stringent criteria for each of these IPs. Any other questions, we'll be happy to answer.
You could also send us an email in case you have specific queries, or Dr. Feroz sir can also facilitate it. We'll be happy to answer.
Ma'am, may I have your contact number, ma'am?
You're talking about me, Prabhavati Rao?
Yes, ma'am, your contact number.
Yeah, you can make a note. It's 948.
Okay.
35.
Okay.
31328.
I'll repeat, ma'am. 9483 531328.
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Chillur sir.
Sir, madam.
Yes, sir.
Shall we go ahead?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Hello. Madam.
Somebody is asking, GV Kori, Mr. GV Kori.
Madam.
Please, sir, please.
Sir, madam, has Dharwad Peda geographical indication registration, madam?
Yes, as I told you, like as I was telling you with pride, that Dharwad Peda was the states, not just the states, but the country's also first registered geographical indication under the foodstuffs category. So Dharwad Peda has a GI registration.
Okay, madam. Thank you.
Disha, madam, if you have any questions
Yes,
in chat box, you can just discuss with the first persons.
Good, sir. Shall we start?
Okay, go ahead, sir.
Yes. Disha, madam.
yes, sir. Thank you very much, Dr. Farah Iba and Srimati Prabhavati Rao, for increasing awareness in us as to what is the power of intellectual property and how to manage innovations, acquainting us with individual, private, company, and community rights. You have also furnished us with the information of Plant Variety Protection Act and Industrial Design Rights, equipping us with the knowledge about geographical indications and how it is a significant IP tool, and the key highlights of the GI policy and also the new GI filings. Thank you very much. It means a lot to us, ma'ams. We are today astutely aware Today we are more astutely aware, more knowledgeable, and can comprehend intellectual property rights in a better manner. Thank you very much, ma'am. The overview of the webinar on intellectual property rights will give us a more clearer picture, and for the same, I invite Major Dr. M.F. Ansari, Administrator of our college, to pass the presidential remarks. Over to sir.
Okay, thank you, madam. Good afternoon to everybody. I take this opportunity to pass the presidential remarks. First of all, let me thank and congratulate Dr. Farhad Iba and Srimati Prabhavati Rao for their excellent and wonderful PPT presentation on two different topics. And after observing the slides of both the speakers, Dr. Farhad Iba has given in two lines. One for social sciences and arts, and other one is for science teachers. Creative, intellectual creativity to creative India, and the invention and innovations for innovative India. Definitely, innovations leads to inventions, leads to innovations. With examples she has given wonderfully, really wonderful presentation by Dr. Diba. And second speaker is Prabhavati Rao. She has given wonderful presentation on geographical indications. Faradiba, she has given some examples of national and international. And Prabhavati Rao, she has given national and Karnataka. She has focused on Karnataka. So at this juncture, let me share the Belgaum Kunda and Gokak Karadant from Karnataka, madam. Prabhavati, madam.
Yeah.
The Belgaum Kunda and Gokak Kardant is also famous in Karnataka, North
Yes.
Karnataka. I don't know whether they are having GPI or not. I don't know. But still, I am sharing with you.
Yes, I'll talk about it after you are done. I'll
Yes,
talk
madam.
about it.
Okay. So after hearing both of you, one by one, all the slides, now I am requesting the principal, the NAC coordinator, and the IQAC coordinator to establish IPR cell in our college. We will have its composition, and I request both the speakers, they will be the members, because as per the guidelines, the 2 members have to be from the IPR experts. It is my sincere request to both of you that we will include your names in the IPR composition, madam. As the NARC criteria 3, research innovation, there is a question about the IPR management, and this webinar is perfectly fit in that question. And now, after forming IPR cell, immediately we are going to form, and you both of you will be the members, madam. And this IPR, even you can suggest what are the different role of IPR. I believe to promote the quality research, innovations, and to have MOU with standard research institutes, and we have to have MOUs with standard industries where they are having research and the development unit, and to develop the industry, academia, the innovation and linkage collaborations. And we will also have the MOU with Visvesvaraya Center, Bangalore. That under this, immediately we have to work on. And finally, if you are having a research, innovation, and we will contact Dr. Diba, Faradiba, and also the Madam Rao for our innovations, whether it can be patented. We are having something with us that we will contact you later on after this webinar in due course of time, that you can guide us in establishing IPR cell in our college and the duties to be undertaken by this cell, and you being the 2 members of the cell. I hope you will accept this my request to you to be the members of our IPR cell of Nehru College, and you will guide us. So with these few words, I thank once again both the speakers, Dr. Diba and Dr. Rao. Wonderful presentation. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. So I'd like to answer a couple of queries from where you left. So one is, thank you so much for the invite regarding the IP cell. So let me tell you that VTPC is, as part of our intellectual property initiatives and for nurturing the IP fabric of the state, we encourage academic institutions to set up the IP cell where we facilitate. So a couple of them we have been part of, some colleges in town have an IP cell which has been facilitated by us. So if you are really keen about it, we'll be happy to, be part of the launch of the cell. But one, request, and which I always want to point out, is that normally, I wouldn't say generalize it, but then I find that it should not be an IP cell launch for the sake of it. Because oftentimes what happens is, respective stakeholders, be it the academic institutions or others, want to fill in some kind of registers, and for a record purpose, for an NAC accreditation, it is then when people remember that an IP cell has to be launched. So my request and appeal to all my dear friends is, let it not be for the sake of launching it, but for the sincere sake of nurturing the IP fabric, because ingenuity, we know, is tremendous in Karnataka and in the country. So let us try to nurture that. And with that serious intent, I'll be very happy on behalf of VTPC to help in facilitating the launch of the cell and taking forward in right earnest. That is one. Second is, you were mentioning, sir, about Belgaum Kunda and Kardan. And these are topics which have come up in the past, where people have said, why not Benne Dosa? And, so many Davangiri Benne and all of that. Now, one thing is, as Farah will also agree with me, as far as foodstuffs is concerned, getting a GI tag for a foodstuff is very complex and challenging. And you yourself understand why. There's something very, there are a lot of elements which have to go into proving not just as ancient history, but other aspects of novelty and the criteria that has been laid down by the GI registry. So on that count, if colleges like yours and others can actually with conviction say, yes, we can get all the details and get down to working for Belgaum, Kunda or Kardant, we'll be happy to start talking about it. But before that, we will have to do some minimum amount of homework for which we can again take this offline and discuss on the way forward. And somebody has pinged, I think, on the chat box, I was just seeing about Savanur mixture, Savanur Khara. Yes, some gentleman from the region had actually written to us that, he wants to get a GI tag for that. And we wanted to take it forward, but we are waiting to hear from him because that particular gentleman says that his family actually traditionally was involved in that particular making of that particular mixture. So we will need, as per the GI registry compliances, as I said, a whole lot of things. So we can always work on that. So this particular topic about Savanur Khara has come up just 2-3 months ago. And I will update you in the coming days in case there is some interesting development.
Definitely, madam, we will have a team of teachers and students to study these GI products around us. And definitely it will not be the sake of NAC. We will work with the team. And I hope that you will support us, the support Nehru College.
Yeah, definitely. We are always there, to support every college, for nurturing the IP fabric. Thank you so much.
Definitely we'll work on it.
I just wanted to add that if GI is not available, we can always have a trademark. Okay. So there are different tools. So if one criteria is not fulfilled, you can take another tool and try to protect your product. And some things are kept free for public good. And some things are protected to give the due credit to the artisan and so on and so forth. So there are cost benefit analysis and there are criteria to be followed. And this whole discussion is very interesting. And I hope everybody has benefited from it, including us. Thank you.
Also, to add to Farah, if it doesn't go as a GI in the case of a food product, we will have to explore, especially if it's a crop kind of an item, because there are many GI crops registered, then, whether it can go as a plant variety, because that's another intellectual property tool. There are plant varieties. So sometimes some crops may not be a GI element, but they could go in as a plant variety, which needs to be explored in a separate exercise. So as Farah rightly pointed out, we have to keep our mind open. So IP is about a basket of tools. And that was our attempt to basically demystify the spectrum and also tell you that there are different ways how you can register and protect it. Thank you.
I'm interrupting you, madam. Dr. Deepa will contact you in connection with one of the innovations that what you have done it, and I also published on paper on that. So later on that we'll discuss on that particular kit that what I have developed, and that will be useful to the society. So that I have published that paper and we'll discuss later on that particular innovation.
Certainly, we'll discuss.
Yes.
Thank you very much, sir, for encouraging us to proceed further and set up an IPR cell in the campus. We are also very thankful to the resource persons for giving their assent for the same. Thank you very much, ma'ams. Now we would like to express our gratitude for the gracious presence of the online guests, invitees, and colleagues and friends. I invite Dr. M.S. Ethneti, the NAC coordinator, to propose the vote of thanks. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Disha, madam. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We have come to the fag end of the program, National Webinar on Intellectual Property Rights, in collaboration with Vishwesharaya Trade Promotion Center, the Government of Karnataka organization. On behalf of the management, principal, administrator, and staff members I would like to thank the guest speaker, Dr. Faraha Diba, Senior Consultant, IPR, CMR University, Bangalore. She has delivered a comprehensive talk on overview of intellectual property rights spectrum and its significance in business, research, academia. Thank you very much, madam. And we are lucky enough to have one more highly resourceful guest speaker. I thank Srimati Prabhavati Rao, facilitator, VTPC, Department of Industries and Commerce, Government of Karnataka, who has delivered an informative and scholarly talk on geographical indications as an important IP tool impacting RTC. Thank you very much, madam, for your highly scholarly talk. And I thank Dr. Major M.F. Ansari, sir, administrator of our college, who has delivered a presidential remark in this occasion. And he gave a very important suggestion to us to establish an IPR cell. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. And I also thank Professor Syed Firoz Ahmed, principal and convener of this webinar, and who is an encouraging person behind organizing this webinar. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. And I thank Dr. Professor R.K. Dafedar, sir, head of the Department of Geology. And I thank Lieutenant Dr. Imam Hussain Mirji, head of the Department Library and Information Science, who are both the organizing members of this webinar. And
Thank you, sir.
I thank Dr. Asha N. Rab, who welcomed and introduced our guest speakers. I thank for Dr. Disha Madan Madam for having done the anchoring very, very disciplined way. I thank Dr. S.M. Chilud, sir, IQAC coordinator, who is very, very the person and man behind organizing this webinar. He works, he toils hard day and night in organizing such seminars. Thank you, sir. So I thank, last but not least, very, very important persons, all the delegate participants of this seminar who have made this seminar very, very successful and very, very interesting. Thank you, one and all, who have worked directly or indirectly in making this seminar, webinar very, very successful. I thank all my colleagues, all the staff members, all the non-teaching staff who has made this webinar very, very successful. Thank you, one and all. Have a great day.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, Diva, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, both the speakers.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much, sir.
Contact again, madam, related to the certificate course and the workshop for the students.
Sir, shall we end the meeting, sir?
Yes, yes, please.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Well done.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.